trig functions. When we say the other, there are 4 other trig functions, at least one of which you have heard of before. So just to recap our previous video we've spoken of, we mentioned that the sine of an angle, right, which we refer to as sine theta, like that, dropping the e, is equal to the y value over the radius. And if we're in a unit circle where the radius is 1, this is just the y value, the y coordinate, right? And similarly, cosine, that n doesn't write for some reason all the time, the cosine of an angle is your x coordinate over your radius again in the unit circle. That becomes just the x coordinate. So what are the other 4 trig functions? Well, the other 4 trig functions are secant, cosecant, one that's familiar to you most likely is the tangent, and of course, if we're following the pattern here, we have the cotangent. Totally botched writing that one up, the cotangent. Alright, and the abbreviations here are to follow. And this is going to be some quick definitions of these guys. Secant has several different representations. It's the reciprocal of your cosine, so I want to write it as 1 over cosine of theta. And sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself here a little bit. Let's do the abbreviations first. The secant is represented as secant theta, and that is 1 over the cosine of theta. And if you follow along, that would be r over x. Okay, and of course, x cannot equal 0. Right? You can't divide by 0, and of course, cosine of theta could not equal 0 as well. Cosecant is CSC, cosecant of theta. That is 1 over sine. Or if we do some substitution, that'd be r over y. Similarly, y cannot equal 0. Tangent, you've seen that abbreviation, tan theta, is sine over cosine, like that. And if you follow along, that would be y over x. I swear the last couple of days, every time I do a video, the phone starts ringing. I'm not answering it. And again, x cannot equal 0. And cotangent, COT, of theta is cosine over sine. Again, if you follow along, there's a theta in there. That'll be your x over y, in which case y cannot equal 0. So those are your definitions for the other 4 trig functions. Again, keep in mind if we're in a radius of 1, all these guys here are just the y coordinate, just the x coordinate. This is 1 over the x coordinate, 1 over the y coordinate. And tangent will be the ratio of both of them. So as far as coordinates are concerned, sine and cosine are really the only ones that involve coordinates on the circumference of the circle. The other 4 trig functions are either reciprocals or ratios of those coordinates. So those are the other 4 trig functions. We'll talk about graphing them shortly here in a little bit. Have a nice one.